Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. One day I'm going to be rich and I won't have to sit in front of a door to do my videos so I can get good lighting. I will have professional lights and a better camera. Anyway, today's video is actually going to be about a trial. So this took place in 2015, but last month I believe the case came to retrial, and I saw an article about it in the Guardian magazine and I read it and it was really interesting and I felt like I needed to sort of talk about it, and I thought what better place to share that than with you guys. So this case is all about sexual assault, deception, social media and identity. I'll give you all the background information. So basically, you know it's going to be a good story when I start with basically. The victim, the sort of main character in this story, is a girl called Chloe. That's not her real name obviously, but she goes to Chester University and she meets a guy called Kai Fortune online through Facebook. He adds her as a friend. They become friends obviously, get on like a house on fire and eventually start an online relationship. This is Chloe's version of events, by the way. So they are essentially going out or in a relationship for maybe a year or 2 years, and during this time he refuses to see her in person. So this is a completely online based relationship. He says that he has a heart condition, he's been in a car accident, he has cancer, and therefore his appearance is something he's very self-conscious about because apparently he has to wear certain things. He's got injuries that have disfigured him and basically he doesn't want Chloe to see him in the flesh. Chloe believes everything that he says, and although he doesn't want to meet up with her, he wants Chloe to meet one of his best friends, a girl called Gayle. So Kai introduces Chloe to Gayle on Facebook as well, and Gayle and Chloe become really good friends. They meet up and then they start hanging around together, they go out together. Chloe gets to meet Gayle's family. Gayle has never brought a friend home for her family to meet before, which is kind of weird, but anyway, in a nutshell, they become really, really close. A year passes and Kai finally agrees to meet up with Chloe and have sexual relations with her. They do that for the first time in a hotel. However, Kai insists that Chloe wears a blindfold during the act because, like I said, he's very self-conscious by his appearance and he restricts her from touching him in certain places because he has to wear certain gear to protect his injuries and stuff like that. Chloe just kind of goes along with this. She is obviously like a little bit suspicious, but she loves him. You know, he's bought her an eternity ring by this point, so their relationship is very, very deep. From then on, they continue to regularly have sex, whether it be at this hotel or at one of their houses. But each time, you know, she's wearing the blindfold, so she's never actually seen Kai in person. Yeah. One day, Chloe's suspicions come to a head and she feels something that she feels like she shouldn't have felt. Does that make sense? Rips off the blindfold and there is Gayle standing, kneeling, whatever, with a prosthetic penis on. Obviously Chloe freaks out, runs into the bathroom. She's very, very shocked, disturbed, scarred by all this. You know, she feels like she's just had sex with a complete stranger. These are her words. And she just wants to get out of this situation as soon as possible, so she kind of grabs her clothes and runs out of the hotel, but not before arguing with Gayle. Well, she's not really arguing with him, her. I'm gonna get confused. Gayle was trying to explain herself, but Chloe is freaking out. She escapes. After that moment, Chloe says that her life fell apart. She felt disgusted with herself, and she started self-harming. So this event really, really affects her and essentially ruins her whole life. After the incident, Gayle also has a bit of a meltdown and tries to kill herself. She tries to, I think, jump in a river and drown herself, but something goes wrong. She isn't successful. And then Chloe obviously rings the police. This becomes a case of sexual assault. Like I said, this is Chloe's version of events. Gayle has a slightly differing version of events, okay? So Gayle says that the two in fact met in a gay club in Chester at university, and when they met, Gayle told Chloe that she was gay, and Chloe also admitted that she was gay too, but she was sort of struggling with her sexuality. So then Gayle told Chloe about this alias, I can never say that word, alias of Kai Fortune, the half Filipino guy, might I add. She basically found an American Filipino guy on Facebook and used all his pictures. Despite this, she isn't really careful, because in the pictures you can kind of tell that it's a bit inconsistent. You know, there's pictures in the background of houses that are very much American houses, not the kind of houses you would see in Chester, stuff like that. So Gayle, tells Chloe about the alias, and so therefore Chloe knew about the whole Kai Fortune thing. So when Kai Fortune added her on Facebook, according to Gayle, Chloe was aware. Chloe insists that this is bullshit and they met in a library. There's some inconsistency with the whole blindfold thing as well. So at first, at the beginning of the trial, Gayle said that there was a blindfold, but that it would occasionally slip off, allowing Chloe to see him. But later on, she kind of backtracked and said that the blindfold had never existed. So this seems like a pretty damning inconsistency. Gayle says she never once thought that they would go to court over this event. You know, in Gayle's eyes, she was in love with Chloe and Chloe was her world, hence she was really upset when they had that argument, and that's why she tried to kill herself, even though you can also see that as a confession. You know, she felt so guilty that she tried to kill herself. Who knows? Also, Chloe isn't the first person that Kai Fortune had communicated with online, so there had been a string of previous girlfriends as well who all thought they were in relationships with Kai Fortune, who never met Kai Fortune, including one woman who is called C in the article. She wants to meet up with Kai, but he refuses, giving her the same old explanation. And eventually, she does a bit of research herself and sort of stalks his Facebook profile, and then finds a lot of similarities between Kai Fortune's Facebook profile and Gayle's Facebook profile. You know, they have the same dog in the photos, and they've got like the same birthday, they study the same course at university, they have the same like music and art tastes, and they also sound the same, but this is because apparently they grew up in the same place and had been friends for a long time. C eventually just phoned Kai up through an unknown number and asked to speak to Gayle, and she was like, speaking. So C figured it out, you know? C figured it out. Chloe, who is the victim in all of this, claims that she never knew they were the same person. Now, you might think this is a bit odd, because you know, you're having sex with the person. Sex is a very intimate thing. And like I just mentioned, all the similarities were there, even the tone of voice, you know? That's a very big thing. Chloe even said that one time Kai must have left her house after they had another one of their sexual encounters, and when she looked out the window she saw Gayle in the car driving off. She just assumed that Gayle had picked Kai up. Chloe is just blissfully unaware / bloody naive, because why would you meet up with someone that you've met online and have sex with them the first time that you meet them? I'm sorry, are you dumb? I know this is a very harrowing thing for Chloe to deal with, but you can't deny that this is next level stupid. When you meet someone online, you have to be so careful. I mean, we all know how dodgy the internet can be. And if you're gonna meet up with someone that you've never met before from the internet, you should always, you know, do it in a public space, preferably with someone else accompanying you or nearby at least, so that if anything dodgy happens, they can step in and you're not alone, basically. But to have sex with this person who you've never seen before and you still don't know who they are, That is just baffling to me, like completely baffling. Chloe claims she was just very naive. She's been completely messed up from the whole situation. She gets very angry at times during the trial. She's a mixture of angry and distraught, basically. Whereas Gayle is kind of more, I would say, calm and collected and a bit more confident in the way she delivers her story. She says that she was pretending to be a boy for a variety of reasons. So, backstory. At primary school, all her best friends were boys. She went to an all-girls secondary school where she felt very out of place. She created this alter ego, and it was through Kai that she was able to go into chat rooms online for the first time and talk to girls without feeling any type of way, you know what I mean? So at that time, she didn't know any gay people. There was no one to really talk to about her feelings because she is obviously gay. I mean, this case has raised many questions, and the transgender community have kind of stepped forward and gave their view on the situation. They said that it shouldn't matter what gender Gayle/Kai was. You know, after Chloe found out that it was in fact Gayle, that shouldn't have been like such a huge issue, because why should gender be an issue? And then you can also question whether if you have sex with someone and they are of a different background or class or any other type of thing that is part of your identity. If you lie about that, then could you also say that you are having sex with a different person than you thought? Is that also identity fraud? I don't know. I was talking about this with my mum and I was like, okay, is Gayle gay, or does she want to be a boy? Like, does she want to transition kind of thing? And then I realised, I knew that sexuality and gender are different things, and you can be attracted to the same sex, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you want to be the opposite sex. I mean, I know a person who used to be a girl, is now a guy, and he's gay. So he's not transitioning so that he can be in a relationship with girls. He is still interested in guys. So sexuality and gender are not one and the same. Gayle obviously kind of puts everything down to both of their struggles with their sexuality. So obviously Gayle, I think we can agree that she is gay. And Chloe was also curious about her sexuality, struggling with her sexuality. So they were both just two girls experimenting with that, and Gayle says that Chloe perhaps felt more comfortable with her posing as Kai because then she was posing as a male rather than a female, and that was easier for Chloe to deal with. Anyway, Chloe disagrees with everything that Gayle says. So no one knows the truth, basically, and at the end of the trial, Gayle was convicted and she is put on the sex offenders register, even though she's like, why am I on this register? I'm not a sex offender. It's just a very interesting case because we still to this day don't really know the real story, and you can see through this article the judge and the jury were really struggling to separate fact from fiction. And with all the online stuff as well, it feels very much like a sort of imaginary world. Very interesting case, I have to say. I really enjoyed reading this article. You guys should look it up online and let me know what you think about the trial and the case, and what you just think about it in general, and what you think about identity. I think personally that if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, be in a sexual relationship as well, that the person should always kind of know your history, because you need trust in a relationship. That is such a huge part of it, and you should both kind of be open about your past and your previous experiences, because if you can tell your experiences to your partner and they're okay with that, then obviously you're going to have a good relationship and you're going to have a trustful relationship. For example, if you have transitioned, if I used to be a guy and I'm in a relationship with a guy now, I should tell my partner that I used to be a guy. It's just easier to kind of put everything out in the open so that you never feel awkward and you never feel like you're hiding something. Not that that's hiding anything, but it's a big thing to not tell someone. I hope I'm making sense. Speaking in very vague language here. I suppose as well that if we are to believe Chloe's side of the story, despite her naivety, despite her essentially bringing it upon herself, at the end of the day, she is still the victim, and the victim cannot be punished because the victim isn't the one that has committed the crime. The victim is the one that has the crime done to them. So even though they might have acted in a stupid way or acted in a naive way, you can't really punish them because, you know, would you rather have a dumb person or a criminal? Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's the same kind of thing that people talk about with rape culture. Now this really pisses me off because you know how so many people will say, oh, the girl who was raped, you know, she was asking for it, she kind of initiated it. No matter what way the girl is acting, if there was no consent, then it's still rape, you know what I mean? No matter what the girl did, the person who raped her shouldn't have raped her. They should have known not to rape her, you know what I mean? It's also like if you have a bank, this is my analogy. If you're a bank manager and you leave your bank wide open, the tills are open. Obviously, this is a bit of a silly thing to do because you know there are bad people in the world that will take the money. And if someone takes the money, then it's still not the bank manager's fault because the person shouldn't have stolen the money, you know? They're the ones that have committed the crime. We shouldn't be focusing on what the bank manager's done. It's still the criminal's fault, you know? The criminal is the one that should be punished. Like, this is why instead of, I think, focusing on people trying to protect themselves, obviously that's important, but in a way you kind of want to be focusing more on teaching people why doing these bad things are wrong. So obviously you're gonna be smart and like protect yourself because you know that there are bad people in the world. But if we focus more on the bad people, the people committing bad things rather, and sort of home in on that and bring people up in the right way, then we wouldn't have to be telling people to protect themselves. I know obviously the world is never gonna become like a perfect place, but do you kind of get what I'm saying? Anyway, so that's the story in Balamory. What do you guys think? What would your opinion on this case be? I mean, obviously no one really knows the truth and no one knows who is lying, no one knows the actual story apart from Gayle and Chloe. It's a bit hard to speculate, but I mean, if you have your suspicions, then let me know. If you think you know who's twisting the truth, then tell me and we'll start a discussion. Discussions are good, we like discussions. I find this whole identity and gender thing really interesting. It's still a very disputed topic. Don't know if it should be. Probably should be simpler than people make it, but it's just quite fascinating. With that, I'm gonna leave you guys. I'm gonna love you and leave you, and I'll see you in my next video. Hope everyone has a lovely day, and sayonara!